Hey guys, disgraced former Teen Mom 2 star Jenelle Evans has taken to the internet to explain to her followers why it is that she has filed for separation from David Eason instead of the divorce, how all of that works in North Carolina. And she also talks about in the past attempting to get an annulment from her other marriage. I think she was married to Cortland Rogers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Listen, it's pretty much the same stuff that I talked about in my initial video about her filing for separation. But take a look, see if there's any new and interesting, pertinent information that Jenelle spills in this video, and let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. So take a look at the video, and then we'll chat a little bit more afterwards.
Um, I would. Okay, so obviously I have a little explaining to do for y'all. Um, I would have skipped straight to divorce, but I couldn't because in the state of North Carolina, you have to be legally separated for a year. And you have to prove that you have two separate addresses. You don't really have to file for it and just prove that you live separately at two different addresses for a year. But the problem with that is neither of us wanted to leave. So, whenever I had the window of opportunity, then I was able to file for separation. And I filed something called it's separation by bed and board. If you go look it up, it basically protects assets and property and stuff like that. So if you're wondering what I did file, you guys can go look that up for yourselves. But yeah, you have to be separated for a complete year. If you guys see each other one time, hook up, and like end up back together just for a night, but then you argue and you're like, nah, this isn't going good. It doesn't matter. The clock restarts. So yeah, they're very particular here, which is crazy. I've tried to get an annulment before. This is my second marriage. Oh my God. But yeah, the mistake I made the first time. If you don't, go look it up. I'm not explaining it. But yeah, so I tried to get an annulment the first time I got married, and it's very hard to even do that. It's like there's only certain old Southern laws that let you get an annulment. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now, and the clock has begun. So, yeah, that's good. Step one, baby steps, y'all. Baby steps.
So now that you've seen the video, just based off Janelle's disposition, do you think she's actually serious about waiting out this year in separation and then going towards step two, which is filing for divorce? Or do you still feel like something isn't quite right about this situation? To me, it kind of feels like I'm not seeing any sadness. I'm not seeing any devastation, which maybe she's been sick of David for a really long time. And that's why it doesn't feel like that. Like there's just a certain air of like casualness to all of this after like 7 years of marriage or something that is kind of throwing me for a loop, I must admit, because again, I don't think that this is something that Jenelle would do if she didn't have to, if the law did not force her hand. Remember, David is not allowed to stay on the swamp because Jace now lives there now that he has finished his hospital treatments and Jenelle has regained custody of him. But there's still this case against David going on right now. David was charged with a misdemeanor and a felony charge stemming from a confrontation in which he allegedly strangled Jace. So because of that, David is not allowed to have any sort of contact with Jace whatsoever, whether that is written, spoken, in person, you name it, he can't do it. And as a result of that, David cannot live in the home. And so now my understanding of this is that that is why Jenelle is ultimately deciding, you know what, like I don't want to be with him anymore. It's too complicated. I want to find somebody else who can actually be here in this house. Like, look at this. Jenelle has been forced to be alone without David for only a couple of days, and she's already splitting up with him. To me, it has something to do with the fact that she can't be alone, right? And she needs to replace David with somebody else, somebody who's not going to be at risk of having her lose custody of these children again, because David has already done that twice. So maybe at this point, she's like, okay, like, this is too much for me now. Like, let me just go find somebody else. You know what I mean? So maybe that is it. Maybe she's not like taking it all heartbroken. Maybe she's just like, this is a business decision at the end of the day. I mean, I don't know where I'm going with that, but to be honest, it just, something is missing in her reactions. She's just very casual about this. All of this happened just a couple of days ago, and she just seems so nonchalant about it all. So I'm still on the fence about whether or not this is a real true, legitimate separation that will lead to a divorce. Something's off to me. Do you know what I think? I am waiting for this criminal case against David to progress. And if the charges ultimately wind up being dropped, I wouldn't be surprised if David moved back on the swamp and Jenelle and he reconciled. I feel like that is kind of the elephant in the room for me right now. Like, so long as those charges are there, yeah, she's gonna go forward with this like separation of sorts. But I feel like she's holding out hope for the case against him to fail or to be dropped. And so, yeah, that's my conspiracy theory there. But I want to know what you guys think. So definitely do let me know what you think is going on here in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.